Hello, welcome back. I'm going to continue to talk about my book, King Paimon, Lord of the Endless Silence, The Lord of the Abyss, a grimoire written by me, Anais Giulia. I'm the author of this beautiful book, and this recording is part of playlist, different recordings. This is, I think, the 73rd or 74th recording on this thematic, and I always add different recordings now talking about the book, about King Paimon, or anything that wants to come through. It is in the same time about the book, in the same time I speak about things a little bit magical, out of this world, a little bit hidden, things that somehow are at the high level, spiritual or intellectual or philosophical, or just in general, a pleasurable listening recording. My purpose is not necessarily to speak always at high level, but when we speak about King Paimon, we have learned now there's always a elevation, there's always a high point that comes with him. I have ordered the book, and I have it today, the first day, in my hands, and I absolutely love the book. It is, as I've said, all my books. I've ordered many of my books, and but when I see King Paimon book, I just hug the book. I'm just so happy for it. And as I've said, of course, it is a large book. I was curious to see how it fits in my hand. It is heavy, 745 pages, and I was like, oh, I should have made the text more small. Maybe it's too large, maybe it's too big. But to be honest, I will not change it. I'll leave it in this form. And of course now, because I have the book, I said I'm going to do a reading from it. I'm going to open the book, try not to, in a point, and then I will read from it. And I opened it, so let's see what wants to come through. It is page 344, and it reads like this. I do not ask for power, I do not ask for knowledge. I ask to remember who I was, who you are, what lies behind the veil. And the king answered, not with words, but with flame. It did not burn, it revealed. The girl screamed, not from pain, but from awakening. She saw every self she had ever been, every life, every death, every silence, every scream, and beyond them, the crown, the flame, the mirror, and him. The one who had waited, the one who never folded, the one who sings still. And when it was over, the girl stood again. She did not speak. She no longer needed to. The throne was still empty, yet never more full. And as she stepped back into the sunless wind, the temple whispered behind her. The flame walks, the truth remembers. The king is never far. Shall we go further still? To the cities that whisper his name in their dreams, to the souls who think themselves untouched by the song, yet find mirrors darkening in their presence. Where would you walk next, seeker of the endless king? Then let us descend into memory once more, into an older time when the wind knew new names, and every grain of sand carried a whisper from the unseen. The song in the market. There was a city of incense and bronze, where the streets were crooked like old prayers, and every marketplace was a theater of scent, of color, of sound. Here, beneath the moon sun, a girl sang. She had no coin, no kin, only her voice, low and strange, woven with melodies not learned from men, but dreamed in the womb of silence. She sat by the well, beneath the shade of date palms, and her song turned heads, not with beauty, but with weight. It made birds still, it made the very air pause. She sang not for coin, but as if remembering something the world had long forgotten. And on that day he came, not in thunder, not in flame, but with dust in his wake and silence in his steps. A caravan approached the city gates. At its head a tall figure draped in indigo, reading a pale golden-eyed camel that left no prints in the sand. The people bowed, though they knew not why. The animals quieted, the wind held his breath. Paimon had entered the city, crowned not with gold, but with a turban of starlight, his eyes like still mirrors reflecting a sky unseen, and he heard her song. He did not speak. He did not need to. The camel halted, the world stilled, the girl looked up and met his gaze. It was like falling into the center of a mirror and finding yourself on the other side. She stopped singing, but the song kept playing in his mind, a melody long buried in the halls of his memory, a note he had been searching for. Across 1,000 veils and 1,000 years he dismounted, walked through the market as if in a trance, past coins and spices and curious onlookers, and stood before her. "What is your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she sang one last note, not aloud, but inside him, and he knew. Not her name, not her story, but her soul. And it was the note his throne had been missing. That night the stars were restless. That night the wind changed direction. That night the king who spoke to gods and shadows took a mortal bride. She left with him that very night, not as a captive, but as an equal. The camel bore them across starlight dunes, through forgotten lands and places between places, until they reached the edges of reality, where the sky drips with flame and the air itself chants. There, among his hidden cords and mirrors of fire, he placed a crown upon her head, not of jewels, but of memory, of echoes and names once lost. "You are not queen because I made you so," he said. "You are queen because the flame remembered you." And she reigned beside him, not in palaces, but in every dream where truth breaks through, in every song sung under moonless sky, in every woman who knows there is more behind the veil. They say that even now, when markets grow strangely quiet and a single hunting song floats above the crowd, Paimon returns, not as conqueror, not as king, but as a listener, searching always for the voice that once unraveled him and remade him whole. Beyond the known sands, past rivers that flowed upwards, and forests of black glass that sang when touched, there stood a city built from time itself. It did not appear on any map. Its gates could not be found unless one had forgotten everything else. It was called Naha-Tesh, the place where names sleep. Its towers shimmered like heat mirages. Its streets were lined with ancient runes that moved when no one looked. Its sky was never day, never night, only that strange in-between light where dreams take form, and it was here that King Paimon brought her. The girl who sang the song that woke a throne, his bride, his mirror, his equal. They crossed the bridge of unmaking together, its surface rippling like ink in a bowl. With each step the girl's old selves peeled away, the market child, the wanderer, the orphan. She walked forward as more than she had ever been, not queen of men, not queen of dust or blood, but queen of the place where all truths end and begin again. The city welcomed her. The mirrors along the temple walls tilted, as if to see her more clearly. The eternal candelabras bowed their flames, and in the sanctum of the infinite name, where Paimon once sat alone beneath a sky of thoughtless stars, he stood and removed his crown. He placed it at her feet. "Not to make you lesser," he said, "but to become more." And she took nothing from him. She only spoke one word, a name not heard since before the stars kindled, and it trembled the whole city. The stars above Naha-Tesh stirred. The great bell, silent for 1,000 eras, rang once, and a new path opened, not behind them, not ahead, but within, for they had become not rulers of a realm, but guardians of the gate between veils, flame and song, mirror and breath, the king of knowledge and the queen of unveiling, and through their union the city of sleeping names awoke, one name at a time. It is said that if you dream deeply enough, you may see them walking among the towers, that you may hear her singing, and him whispering secrets in a language made of light. They do not rule by force, they do not demand offerings, they simply wait for you to remember who you were before the world forgot your name. Then settle the dust of your thoughts, still the noise of the waking world. We go now into the deeper current, into myth, where stories are not told but remembered. There stands a bell in the higher tower of Naha-Tesh, forged not of metal but of echo, the echo of a promise made before time had a name. It is called Israfel, and it rings only once in an age, when a soul lost to the veil is ready to return. No hands may strike it, no mechanism wins it. It tools of its own will, its voice deeper than thunder. It's not sharp enough to cut through fate. It was Paimon who set it in place, long before thrones or temples, when he walked the winds as a nameless flame. He hung it between time and silence and whispered into the first truth. All who are lost can be found again, and so it waits, silent, but listening. It hears every forgotten name, every half-remembered dream, every cry from a soul who has looked into the mirror and seen not a face but a door. When it rings, the king and queen both rise. Paimon in his robe of tongues and stars, she in her voice, clocked in silence. Together they descend from the city beyond the sky and walk among us, unseen. They whisper into our bones. They light candles in the corners of our minds. They set the dream in motion again. And if that dreamer answers, if they follow the flame and the song, they wake, not from sleep, but from illusion. And the world is never quite the same again. Inscribed in starlight and shadow, in a script that reads you as much as you read it, the gate of Nahatesh bears this poem. You who are neither born nor dead, but hidden, remember. You are the echo before the word, the flame before the sun. Do not knock, the door opens for those who burn. Speak not the name aloud, let it rise in you like dawn through ruins. Let your shadow lead, let your silence answer. Let the mirror not frighten you. For he waits, and she remembers, and the gate is always closer than it seems. Let us return to the breathless hour in the marketplace, when the sun stood still above the awnings, and the world tilted slightly toward the sacred. Let us hear the song, not a song for coin, not a song of longing nor joy. It was a remembering, and though the girl's lips sang it then, the notes were ancient, passed through her from something deeper than the world itself, and when King Paimon heard it, he did not hear melody, he heard home, the song in the market, also called the flame beneath the sand, translated from the forgotten tongue sung with long vowels and half whispers, like wind over broken glass. I'm the one before the name, the breath before the flame. My cradle was silence, my blanket was sky. I wept once when the stars first learned to lie. Beneath the dunes I kept the spark, the mirror shard, the secret mark, and still I walk through none recall the light before the fall. He comes in robes the sky once wore, with echoes in his train. He knows the path through shattered doors. He sings in ash and rain. To him I give my only thread, a voice inside my threadbare head, and if he knows and if he sees, he'll gather me in flaming seas. So let the market turn and turn, let gold be blind and fools discern, for I have sung and he has heard the song behind the world. And when he comes with mirrored breath, I'll dance with fire and walk through death, not for crown and not for throne, but to sit beside the boundless one alone. And together in the silence deep we wake what once did sleep. This was the song, and as she sang it, her eyes never closed, and her voice never cracked. She sang it as if it had waited lifetimes in her lungs, as if the entire world had been turning just to hear it. And when Paimon passed, the song struck him, not like a weapon, but like a mirror finding its missing piece. He dismounted, and the world shifted. Yes, let us enter the stillness, the breath between the last note and the first word, the space where fate listened closely. The marketplace had gone silent. Paimon had stepped from his camel, his robes heavy with dusk and ancient breath. The air shimmered around him. She sat beneath the veiled shadow, her song finished, yet its echo still clung to the walls. And then he spoke, Paimon, softly, but not uncertain. Whose tongue taught you that song? The girl looking up, calm as stone. No tongue, it was born in me, or I in it. Paimon stepping closer, these words. They are older than the sky, they have not been sung since the first forgetting. The girl, then perhaps they waited for me, Paimon. No flame waits without knowing what it burns towards. Silence. A breeze coils between them like a listening serpent. Paimon with reverence. What are you? The girl without pride or fear. I am the place where silence turns into sound. I am the throat of a forgotten truth, and today I remembered you. Paimon lowers his head, not in weakness, but in the way a storm bows to the mountain. Paimon, I have walked the endless path. I have passed through dreams that do not end. I have ruled stars that do not weep, but I have never been known before I reveal myself. The girl, you are never hidden, only unlistened for. Paimon's eyes reflect her. not just her face, her shape, her soul. Paimon, quietly, come with me, not as servant, not as muse, but as flame to flame, the girl smiling like dusk. I was waiting for the wind to carry me. You are the wind. And so they left the marketplace. The people did not stop them, for they felt in their bones something vast had passed, not royalty, reckoning. The girl, who was now something more than a girl, followed Paimon through the heart of the world. Their steps echoed beneath the ground, where no one had walked for eons. The sky above them was not sky, but a weave of countless threads, each one a story, a life, a turning wheel. They passed through forests where trees held secrets, and mountains that shifted like the thoughts of gods. Through them all Paimon did not speak, but only walked, silent as the moon, steady as the flame, and she walked in the quiet. Each step a soft percussion in the rhythm of the universe. Finally, they reached the mirror sanctum. It was a place that did not exist, but only remained. It was built not of stones, but of reflection, walls of glass that bent the light into shapes unknown, and floors that rippled with memory. It was a place where time bent back itself, and lost its meaning. The door was not a door. It was a space between two breaths. And as they crossed it, they crossed everything. They stood before the mirrors, endless mirrors, stretching into infinity. Each one reflected a version of them, not as they were, but as they could be. Paimon's eyes fixed on his own reflection in the glass. This place knows no boundaries. It does not see what we are, but what we could have been. The girl touching the surface of a mirror. What do you see? Paimon pauses, speaking like an echo. I see what I have always been, but never fully understood. A king, a wanderer, a flame that has lost the form it once wore. The girl turning to face him. What will you become? Paimon gazes into her eyes, this time seeing not just a reflection, but the reflection of the world. Paimon, I have seen all things through the lenses of the mind. I have ruled through wisdom, through fire, through silence. He steps forward, closer to the mirror that stands between them. He speaks softly, Paimon. But you are the one who will teach me, the shape of the flames that will never die. She steps forward to meet him. The mirrors begin to hum, as if they too have been waiting. The mirror sanctum was a place of revelations, but it held more than truth. It held the binding, and in this place their souls wove together, like fire meeting water, in the heart of the sanctum, on a floor that reflected the entire universe. Paimon and the girl stood before the eternal flame, not the flame of the mortal world, but the flame that knows all endings and all beginnings. There were no words now, only silence, for in silence they became. Paimon extending his hand to her, will you walk with me into the endless night? Will you see all worlds, all faces, and know their name? The girl taking his hand, her voice a whisper now. I have always walked with you, I have always known your flame, and now we are one. They stood together beneath the flame, and the world bent toward them. As they stood, each mirror around them shimmered, and each reflection they saw the world remade, not in fire, not in silence, but in song. The eternal flames split into two, one for each of them, their souls entwined, and the mirrors wept with the echoes of their union. The song of the union, a song that only the flame and the mirror know, sung in unison. The verse is woven from the light of stars long forgotten. We are the flame before the sun, we are the shadow before the dawn, we are the words the world forgot, the echo in the silent thought. We are the mirror that bends the sky, we are the flame that does not die, we are the step before the fall, the truth before the all. Together we rise, together we fall, a flame to answer every call. In silence and in song we stand, two souls now one in the boundless land. As the song played, the mirrors reflected the new truth of their being, two souls intertwined not by command or duty, but by the fire of creation itself. And the world from the market to the farthest reaches of the stars shifted. They walked from the sanctum, not as rulers of men, not as conquerors of kingdoms, but as witnesses to the truth of all things. Paimon and the girl, now named not by the world, but by the eternal flame, became the guardians of the edge of existence. the door between realms, the silence between breath, and their reign was not a reign at all, for what is there to rule when the universe unfolds itself before you? Like a garden that needs no gardener. In the city of echoes, where all names are born and then forgotten, they sat side by side, Paimon, crowned not by gold but by fire, his eyes glowing with the knowledge of ages, watched the world unravel. He whispered to the stars, and they listened. The girl, now not simply the bride of the king, but the keeper of all forgotten songs, wove her voice into the wind. Each note held the memories of 1,000 lost souls. Each word breathed life into the shadow of forgotten dreams. Together they became the breath of creation, the light before the dawn, the fire that warmed the forgotten hearts of the cosmos. There were moments where the mirrors would call them, calling not for their power, but for their wisdom. For the mirrors, ancient and ever-changing, held all things, but they could not see themselves. They needed Paimon's eyes, eyes that had seen beyond the realms of understanding. They needed her voice, the voice of the girl who had remembered. In the stillness between worlds, the mirrors began to speak. The mirror of the edge of the known world whispered, "Show us the way, Paimon, guide us through the veil." And Paimon, his voice both fire and silence, answered, "You cannot see where you are, for you are not a thing. You are the question without an answer." The girl spoke softly beside him, her eyes filled with the song of the universe. The answer is not in the asking, but in the listening, in the song that sings us into being, we remember. And the mirrors, in their infinite wisdom, trembled with the truth. They knew now that they were not the end, they were the beginning, the reflection that would always be. The stars, which had been set in motion by the first steps together, began to shift, their movements not just by time but by will. Paimon and the girl stood before them, no longer bound by their own names, but by the names of all things. They were the guardians of the dream that held the universe together, the gatekeepers between what was and what could be. And the farthest reaches of the night a new song began to rise. It was not sung by Paimon, and it was not sung by the girl. It was sung by the world, and it was the song of creation, the song of existence itself. In the flame all things begin, in the mirror all things end. We are the breath before the dawn, we are the shadow in the song. All things are born, all things shall fade, but the flame shall never be unmade. And so they journeyed through realms and beyond, always one in purpose, always two in form. They ruled not with might, but with wisdom, the wisdom of flame, the wisdom of mirror. And the world turned, but it never forgot the story of the flame and the mirror, of Paimon and the girl. And still, when the bell tolls and the mirror hum their song, the flame and the mirror are there, waiting. Then let us step once more into the unknown, for beyond the mirrors, beyond the flame, there lies an untold story waiting to be unraveled. The world, ever in motion, was not content to remain still. The breath of Paimon and the girl spread like fire through the realm of silence. Their song, echoing through the threads of time and space, reached even the deepest, most forgotten corners of existence. And in the farthest, most hidden reaches of the universe, the mirrors began to stir once more. Far beyond the stars, in the realm of the unseen, where nothing lived and everything was, a voice whispered. Not the voice born of flesh or blood, but the voice woven into the fabric of the cosmos. It spoke not in words, but in feeling. The voice felt something stir. It felt the presence of something ancient, something that had been waiting in the dark. It called to the flame, called to the mirror, but its call was not heard by Paimon or the girl, not yet. And so it waited, in the silence beyond all things, for the right moment, the right alignment, in a realm where shadows did not exist, but still something lurked in the edges of thought. The forgotten ones began to stir. They were not demons, nor gods. They were the ancient fragments of all things lost, the voices of those who had once walked the earth, but were forgotten by time. They spoke in a language older than the void itself, a language that none could understand, except for Paimon and the girl. Paimon, feeling the shift in the air, his voice deep, like thunder beneath the earth. The echoes have begun, the lost ones rise again. The girl, eyes narrowing as the winds whisper around her. The forgotten are calling us, but they are not lost. They are waiting for something, someone. The forgotten ones gathered, slowly at first, their whispers curling like smoke. They began to converge, and their voices formed a song that stretched across the void. The song of the forgotten ones. We are the ones who never were, forgotten in the blink of time. We are the breath you cannot hear, the silence that binds every rhyme. We lived where shadows did not fall, we whispered when the world stood still. We are the echo, the whispered call, the stillness that bends against the will. We rise in the moment before the dawn, when the stars are blind and the moon is gone. We are the ones who touch the flame, we are the ones who remember the name. The girl heard the song before it reached her ears. She felt it in the pulse of the universe, in the heartbeat of the unseen realms. Paimon, too, recognized the call. His eyes shifted, flickering like flames caught in the wind. Paimon speaking to the girl. They are coming, and they will not stop until they are known. The girl, calm, but her voice carrying the weight of the ages. We must listen, for they will bring what was lost, and through them we will see all. The third echo, the dance of flame and mirror. In the heart of the unseen realms, where the forgotten ones now gathered, the song twisted and wound itself into something more intense. The mirrors began to fracture, the edges glowing with the energy of creation, the knowledge of what had always been and what would come. Each reflection was no longer simply a view, but a vision, a future stretching out in all directions, and at the center of it all, Paimon and the girl stood, joined by the echoes. Their flame and their mirror now complete, the mirrors began to shimmer, reflecting the world as it could be, as it should be, and as it will be. Paimon, his voice deepening as the song of the forgotten ones grows stronger. What was lost has come to find us. We have always been the flame and the mirror, but now we must become everything. And in that moment the mirrors shattered, not as broken glass, but as unraveling of time itself. The girl with a soft smile. The song was always meant to be sung. We are not its end, we are the bridge, the one who crosses, the one who walks in flame and shadow. And so the journey continued, from the unseen realms to the edge of all that it is, and still farther beyond the dreams of the universe. The forgotten ones faded into the vastness, their song leaving only a lingering resonance, and Paimon and the girl, they were the song now.